Trades for today. Today is Friday, May 12th of 2023. Here you see the one trade we did in our small account. We rolled the MPW May 19th $9 cover call option out to July 21st and stayed at that same $9 strike price. We pocketed 31 cents per share. So here we're looking at the MPW chart, and actually this may be a position we have to adjust again. Today was a very strong down day, and so the call option that was expiring next Friday on May 19th, that option is pretty much worthless. So I want to go ahead and roll it out. And when I looked at the return, it's pretty much the same going out from May to July. So I'd rather get the bigger dollar figure, especially with medical properties showing some weakness. Notice that today it broke below this area right here around 790 that served as support for it back at the end of April. So because of that, I decided to go ahead and just roll it out farther. Now, if it continues to show weakness, then I have no problem rolling this $9 strike price down to $8. So we'll see how that plays out. But in the meantime, we collected some nice premium, and we're also lined up to receive a dividend next time MPW goes ex-dividend if we still own the stock. Now here you see all the trades we did in our main option trading account. The first one is just simply rolling the short-term experimental TQQQ cash secured put options out. So we bought the May 12th $25 strike cash secured put options and rolled them out and down, rolled them out and up to June 2nd, the $26 strike price, and pocketed 52 cents per share. So let's take a look at the TQQQ chart, kind of see what's going on with that. So we were at this $25 strike price, and now we've rolled it up to the $26 strike price, so right in here. And one reason I felt comfortable doing that is, as you can see here, it broke out above both the green 50 and red 200 moving average. It's now made a higher high. Let me zoom in here for you. So you see here, it's made a higher high the past 3 days. It's made a higher high. So if it does come down, which wouldn't surprise me at all, it'll test support right around here in this area, around 26, 27. And our cash secured put options should still be out of the money. Of course, this is a very volatile ETF, so anything is possible. But notice that over the past couple of weeks, we see there's been nice buying pressure from the buyers. There was a spike in volume on strong down days, but we see it peaked out about a week and a half ago. Ever since then, it's been weak. So buyers have kind of taken over, and it's made it, at the results that reached a new higher high. Over here on the hourly or 60-minute chart, we see this trading above both the 250 moving averages on that chart. Now over here on the weekly chart, we see it running up against the 50 moving average. So running into an area that is, as you can see, serving as resistance for it. In fact, it's been serving as resistance for about a month and a half. It has not been able to push through. Finally this week, it did pierce that moving average. So now we'll see if it can follow through. Looking at the volume, we see really nice volume going all the way back to January. Only a couple of weeks were down weeks and had strong volume. Otherwise, the buyers have been in control, and we see that because it's made a nice advance so far this year, the first 4.5 months of this year. So we'll continue to roll that cash secured put option strike price up if it continues looking like it's finding support. The next trade we did was we bought to close the AVGO May 19th 570 cash secured put option, paid 20 cents for it. Now AVGO, I believe, is supposed to announce earnings during this next cycle, and that's why I went ahead and closed it out. Yes, supposed to announce earnings somewhere in June. TC2000 saying June 1st, so did not want to be in that position. We can help it, so glad to close that out. Had a really nice profit on that position, so one that went our way. And the next trade is SWK. It's showing renewed weakness, so we bought to close the SWK May 19th $80 cash secured put option. Went out 2 months to July 21st and sold to open the $75 strike price. So let me show you why I did that. We'll focus here on our bottom two charts. So SWK was looking good. It had made a new higher high a couple weeks ago. That was looking good. Made a new higher low several weeks ago. That looks good. And as of right now, even though it's come way down from where it was just a couple of days ago, we see that it's dropped now about almost 12% over the past week and a half. It is still in an area where if it were to find support, it would still have made a higher low based on the last wave, just barely. But we do see really strong selling pressure. Volume is staying high as it's continuing to drop. Made a lower low today. Now, buyers did come in and bought it back up today, but still lots of red here. So because of that, I decided to not wait until next week to see what happens, because it could very well keep going lower. If it does, it'll be hard to roll this for a credit. You see, we actually got a credit of 78 cents per share, and we got our strike price down by $5. So We improved our position from an area right in here all the way down to 75. So below this area where it should serve as support, at least for it temporarily, and able to pocket some change. Now looking here at the weekly chart, we just see that over the past, really, let's see, how long is this? Going all the way back to the fall of last year, SWK has just been trading basically sideways in a range. The high of the range is around 96. The low is around 70, 72. So it's been stuck in that range. But here, over the past couple of weeks, the sellers have shown renewed strength. We see that when it approached this green 50 moving average last week, it did find resistance in that area. So now it's coming down. So the question is, where will it find support? If it follows what it's been doing, it'll probably find support right around here, around 73. And if it keeps going lower than around 71 or so. So we just took advantage of this opportunity to go ahead and get it rolled down before that option that we had sold expires next Friday, before it goes too much farther in the money, and still walk away with a nice credit. So very happy to do that. Our next one's UPS, a covered call position we are in. And we kept the same strike price, but UPS is showing renewed weakness. So what I did is I bought to close the UPS June 16th 175 covered call and kept the same expiration date and sold to open the strike price $5 lower at 170, pocketed at $1.83 per share. Now here you see, let's start here on the hourly chart. We just see just weakness. Going all the way back to April 24th, April 25th, we see weakness. It's trading below both moving averages on the 60-minute chart. Looking over here at the daily chart, we see after the big gap down after earnings. Now, if found support right around 171, held support for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, but now 3 days ago, it broke below that area. So because of that, I decided to go and roll the strike price down. This is the area, it's kind of an area where there's a bunch of consolidation that happened back in the fall of last year. So really it could find support anywhere in here, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's going to be right around this 163 area where it'll find support if it continues to go lower. It could even go as low as this area here around 160. So quite possible we'll roll the strike price down again. I thought about selling the 165 cover call option, but for now I decided to keep it at the 170. And the reason is that the volume is not really that high. The candlesticks do look strong. There's strong selling pressure based on how the candlesticks look. It's making lower low the past several days, lower highs the past several days, but volume is not really that high. So we'll just have to see what happens next week. If it continues to show weakness, I'll definitely roll that $70 strike price down. You see I have a note here for myself that I can add to this position. I'm just waiting on it to stabilize. We almost did it a couple of days ago, but I didn't like how the volume was looking, so I decided to hold off. And so we're still continuing to look for an opportunity to sell into the cash secure put option. Now, one other thing that's fairly negative, we see that it's now pierced the 200 moving average over here on the weekly chart. So that is negative, although it's not dramatically negative because as you see back in the fall of last year, it did the same thing. It did pierce that 200 moving average for about a month, but it ultimately found support just below that moving average. So we'll have to see if it does the same thing. If it does, then it'll continue lower. Notice that it is pretty strong selling volume over the past 3 weeks. This week, and we only have about 20 minutes before the market closes. So the volume is below the 50 moving average, but still pretty strong volume. So looking for that to turn. Maybe you'll find support next week, but we'll see. Once it does, we'll add to our position here. And finally, a new trade. I've been watching AMGN for a while now, waiting for it to stabilize and look to be in a position where I felt comfortable selling a new cash secure put option. Finally, it did that today. When we freed up our capital here with closing on AVGO, I put that back to work in AMGN by selling the June 16th $225 cash secure put option and got $3.55 per share. So we'll pull our charts up here. Now, a little bit of bullish or bearishness here on our hourly chart. We see it's trading below both these moving averages, been finding resistance at that green 50 moving average. But notice that over the past several days, it's kind of just been stuck going sideways. So I like that. It's consolidating, trying to figure out if it's going to reverse course or try and push back through these moving averages. But over here on the daily and weekly charts, this is the main reason why I do my trades and why I did this trade. So one thing I do want to point out is that as far as the highs, we see that AMGN is making lower highs. So I want to keep that in mind. But as far as the lows, we see that this is an area back here that served as support for back in September, came back down to this area back in March, a couple months ago, found support there again. And now it appears to be doing the same thing. It appears to be trying to find support. Big red down day on big volume right here, back on May 3rd. But ultimately found support just above that 225 area. Over the past couple of days, it's just been kind of hanging out, drifting sideways. Volume is not that high, which means sellers are not all that excited, but buyers aren't either. They haven't come in to push it up yet. So I like this kind of, it's been drifting sideways. It's approaching an area that should serve as support for it, which is right there where we sold our strike price. You see we sold the June 225 cash secure put option. Another thing I liked about it is over here on the weekly chart, we see this area is right around the 200 moving average, so I like that. That's an area that served as support for it multiple times back here in February of 2022. Fast forward on into the year, and in September found support there again for about a month, and then several months back in March found support there again. Now, I do notice that the volume was going up until this week, but what's interesting is that it was, as the volume was increasing, is not necessarily because the sellers were pushing it way down. Sellers were pushing it down for sure. It was making lower lows, but we see that buyers were buying it up. Buyers were buying it up. Now this week, although sellers pushed it down, they couldn't eclipse the low from last week, which that's telling us that maybe the trend is starting to reverse, which happens to be right at this support level of the 200 moving average, which is what we would expect. So I like the position. I like the company, especially if we're heading into a recession. A medical company like AMGN is a good company to be in. We have to have their drugs, and many people rely upon them to improve their health. So that's our trades for today and our trades for this week. I hope you have an awesome weekend.